Hey everyone, Angelo here, Hollywood filmmaker, greatest screenwriter in the history of the world, recovering homeless guy, and friend of the workers. Today is Labor Day. I have been doing so much work, but it's great. Lots and lots of writing, also um, reading some really intense novels. I have to take a break. It's like so intense. Not just intense novels, but like if I read any books like constantly, it's like the words become like daggers in my brain. I just need it's sensory overload, but it's great. I'm learning so much, watching movies, and reflecting on lessons of working in corporate America. And today on Labor Day, I want to do a little speaking about it. Geez, my hair's a little stringy. Let's see if I can straighten that out. Okay. I was just thinking how we're in this like insular culture of revering entrepreneurs and businesses, and we have a legal system in place that is largely bought and paid for by them, that protects them. They lobby for legal protections against workers who want to improve working conditions, wages, uh, get um, better protections in place against all kinds of abuse at work, like racist abuse, sexual harassment, sexist abuse, LGBTQ protections, anti-discrimination laws, all kinds of things. And how absolutely terrified and united capitalist and industry are, and their bootlickers in management, and the people who aspire to be in management and aspire to be those capitalists, how absolutely terrified those people are of workers that are united, that are not so atomized and divided among each other. They're scared of workers that know each other, that care about each other, that are friends with each other. That's why this whole system is designed as this big illusion in which you need employers badly because you'll go homeless and, oh, I'm sweating, you'll go hungry without a job for the most part. And they know that, but they'll never say that. They'll never mention that in their HR manuals and their employee intakes and handbooks and their conduct policies. They'll never say, hey, we know you're scared shitless of going homeless if you ever defy us, because we also know there are other desperate poor people who will step in and take your job in a minute, in a second, in a flash, if we decide you're not necessary here anymore. And there are all kinds of machinations that can factor into whether your job is necessary anymore, whether they can just do it somewhere cheaper with less labor protections, less wage protections, whether you're kind of a squeaky wheel, somebody who ruffles feathers and rattles cages at work by reporting misconduct. Because once you do that, now you're the target. Oh, I can speak to that. I can speak to how HR will go around trying to elicit testimony against you when you report things like sexual harassment, which I did, and how that puts fear in your coworkers about you, wondering, did you report them to HR? But also, it gives the clear understanding to them that, hey, if they ever report to HR, HR is going to do the same thing to them. And HR never needs to think like, hey, we're doing something wrong here. This isn't right. We're putting fear in people. This is a system in which people's jobs are dangled, or they're dangled over the threat of homelessness. And they know that like there's a fear, a reputation factor of HR coming to you and managers doing things to you because it suggests clearly they know they can. They know you will cooperate for the most part. The rare person who doesn't fully cooperate is going to single themselves out so much, get treated badly, and be funneled out of a company. I remember how horrible it was when I told an HR guy that I just wanted to put my report in writing. I didn't want to speak to him because I know speaking to him, it's automatically a lie. He's lying and I'm lying. He's lying in that he's pretending he's taking a report. I'm lying in that I'm pretending I'm reporting. In reality, I just know he can exert psychological pressure to get me to downplay the seriousness of my report. And what happened when I wouldn't do that? He acted super creepy, pressuring me to say, like, is there a reason you don't want to talk to me? Like, he didn't understand what integrity of a report is. And he sent a manager to harass me and bully me and pressure me to lie and tell me, don't go to HR, come to me if you have a problem. And to be fair to the manager, he said, hey, you have a problem with anything, anybody, even me, go to HR. But I'm like, fuck you, why would I do that? Because clearly HR, if I have a problem with someone, HR sends you to bully me. Like, they're in cahoots with you. Why would I be like, oh yeah, I have a problem with my manager here. Oh, HR works for the manager. So you think they're going to find a problem there? Anyways, they dangle this threat over you of homelessness, which is great for the capitalists and gives such an imbalance of power. And we're so separated, we're so divided. Part of it is our built infrastructure. We live in one area, the suburbs. We commute to another, the city, which means it's expensive to live. It drives up housing prices, utility costs. It makes us drive cars, which are over-engineered, overpriced. They're huge strains on us. They're bad for our health. I'm not saying cars are inherently bad. It's just we built our environments wrong to over rely on them, and we got exactly the kind of traffic and traffic deaths and air quality that you would expect from that. That's in large part due to the car industry lobbying and huge racists who wanted to destroy black and brown communities and pave over them and create huge roads and highways. Anyways, could go on. But the point is, so that separates us. We live in one area, work in another. We don't know our neighbors. We're scared of creating any kind of solidarity with our coworkers because we know how badly, like in my case, that HR guy just could not handle just jonesing for me to get on the phone and get in a personal call with him. Like one-on-one call, so he could just dismiss my report. And I thought, what happens if it matters years later that I made this report? I need things in writing, but I can't tell him that because then you don't trust me? You don't trust me? You're like, why, are you planning on suing us? Well, the problem is they're always planning on you suing them. They don't want you to say that, and they maneuver you in a way for that. It's a horrible, horrible system. It's why I've seen it estimated that only 4% of workplace discrimination gets reported to HR in the first place, because we all know on some level they're bullshitters. They're not there to protect us. HR is there to hurt you, not help you. They're there to protect the company from legal liabilities. Why do you think companies react so strongly against workers that attempt to organize, that strike, that unionize? Why do you think companies in the past, and I'm sure in parts of the world today, send like either mercenaries or the police to kill striking employees? Why is that? They're desperate to keep control of you. Hold on, I got something under my sock. It scares the shit out of them for employees to have solidarity, to have free time, to have a guarantee of certain living standards in which if you lose your job, you know you're not going to lose your home, your health care. We're going to have good public transportation, walkable streets. So if you're not worried about losing your car and therefore losing your ability, essentially becoming a prisoner in your home, you're not able to get around. It's great that we have a completely inadequate infrastructure system, public transportation, social safety net system, where people are desperate to stay employed. Why? That gives all the power to employers in just a general de facto state of exploitation of workers. But also then further the more insidious, or not more or less insidious, I guess, but the more like specifically expressed exploitation of the things I talked about, of unsafe working conditions, emotional abuse, sexual abuse, racist abuse, other types of discrimination, underpaying workers. Because it's like, well, what are you going to do? Like the system's fair, right? It's basically pretty fair. The managers know, like, the power is not on your side. It's on their side. The owners know that. So keeping that in mind, let's agitate for a better livable environment for us workers. Let's try and have more joyous streets where we're connected with each other, where you don't have to have a car to get around, where you have more affordable housing, where you have guaranteed housing. Let's think about what it would be like if employers knew if they abuse you, you'd be like, well, fuck you, I'm just going to leave. And I hate overly cussing, but you're just going to leave because you're like, I don't have to take this. I can survive without this. Managers would have, and employers would have to get their act together more, and also it would tend to filter out. On the whole, it doesn't. There's always going to be power imbalances with people, but it also helps to create a culture in which abusers and exploiters are not protected because they can't reach those positions of power where they can abuse and exploit people. It helps, it would put that pressure on companies that supposedly we believe exist with capitalism to actually provide better jobs, to give 4-day work weeks, say, shorter work days, more breaks, give more power to employees over their own working conditions, one worker, one vote, all that stuff, because they know, oh, if we don't do that, if we don't treat our employees really well, they can just leave. Everyone should be able to have a baseline of a quality of life where they can pursue their passions and do the things they love or do nothing. And then beyond that, yeah, if you want to get more wealthy, I think you should be able to engage in commerce or get a job, whatever the case. And those are kind of the main ones. And make more money if you want a higher standard of living. But we can guarantee everybody a certain standard of living. We absolutely can do that. That would be a socialist or akin to a socialist ideal, and also the idea of workers controlling the workplace, workers actually earning or actually being paid the money they earn when they work for a company, and not funneling it up to bosses and then getting like the bosses scraping out a little bit at the end for them. Think about how much more equitable that would make us. And not just that, the idea of where profits are made. So much of profit is made in exploiting workers, but we revere profits as, oh, that's a sign that person's smart and good. All it means is they exploit workers, and you can make profits just by whatever's profitable. People want to eat poison. Poison's profitable, and that's basically what so much of our food is. Why? Because it's a game in which like capitalists can manipulate numbers. They can do things like stock buybacks, but also layoffs, etc. Like they can get more money, better valuations without treating people better. So this Labor Day, think about ideals akin to a socialist culture in which we actually care for everybody. We provide for each other. We have safe, clean, healthy environments, healthy, happy streets, joyous streets, full of people-powered mobility, public transportation, and people who, when they drive, it's because they want to drive, because they don't have to drive to get around. Because we have streets that are designed to get everybody around. How many of you, it's weird how quickly many drivers just identify as a driver, like, you're that kind of bootlicker, like, you kick up money to some auto executive who doesn't care about you and creates these over-engineered cars every year, got to re-engineer them with more junk parts in them, because that boosts profit, that's profitable. You go into debt for that, you're stuck with other drivers. I don't think drivers like other drivers for the most part. I see bad drivers all the time now, being a cyclist and pedestrian. I don't personally have to deal with them a lot, but I see them just standing outside, seeing how they don't drive, like accelerate when the light turns green, how they'll leave 30 feet of space in front of them at a red light when there's no reason to. I know you don't want to be right on someone's bumper at a red light, but there's absolutely no reason, like especially on a small, slow street, to leave that much space. Just people are bad drivers. And I'm sure people can talk more about, it's something I haven't dealt with in so long, of bad drivers on the freeway, on busier roads, because I don't really deal with those as much. But anyways, it's like drivers don't even like other drivers. And then when you're confronted with the idea of streets for everyone, they think, oh, I saw a cyclist once and I didn't like him. Okay, that's your answer to 42,000 people a year or so dying in traffic deaths in America. America is pretty anomalous in the amount of traffic deaths we have. It's because we've engineered our streets to prioritize speed and driving over people and public transportation. Another symptom of our capitalist exploitation and lobbying by the car industry and getting welfare projects, basically lots of subsidies for roads, lots of subsidies for neighborhoods with big road infrastructure, and also subsidies directly to the car industry. So anyways, okay, trying to get some water. So this Labor Day, reflect on what could be better about being a worker with something akin to socialist ideals and the idea of workers having power. And also, do not trust HR. Please, everybody, I implore you, I beg you, the worst enemy for HR would be a well-educated workforce on the legal system that protects employers from having to, what's the word I'm trying to think of? Well, from having to, from being accountable for discrimination, for breaking the law. That's the worst nightmare for employers. They are so grateful that most employees are scared, that are broke, are not able to speak up, that don't know how HR works to protect companies, not protect you. Please, I implore you, these stories are so like cut and paste standard across employer to employer. Research, study, look what employment lawyers say. There's so many employment lawyers now on YouTube that are popular because they speak to what people are going through. Please, please educate yourselves. This should be like the idea of you can't go out into the world until you've gotten like 6 weeks of hardcore training on this in schools. Just like schools, I don't know. I'm pretty sure they have to teach civic values and stuff like, you know, you have to understand your right to vote and you know, certain your civil rights and stuff. I don't know what schools teach now, but certain curriculum is necessary to go out into the world. This should be mandatory, like boot camp drilling of teaching people what their rights are, how HR and corporations try and skirt them. This should be something everybody helps yourselves to. This has nothing to do with your political affiliation ostensibly. Everything has something to do with your political beliefs. But this is something absolutely, there are conservative employment lawyers who will speak to the same issues that progressive employment lawyers speak about, and liberal ones, and all everywhere around the spectrum. They may disagree like on politicians and bigger issues. Doesn't matter. They see these issues happening. It doesn't matter where you stand on that spectrum. You stand to benefit from knowledge. Use the resources out there to your advantage to understand the stories that have come before you by people who have suffered because of this system, and understand how better to advocate for yourself and for others. Because when you uplift others, you help uplift yourself as well. Ride a bike, save money on a car. Ride a skateboard, that thing's awesome. I have my rollerblades back there in the closet. Help be the person that creates more joyous streets. Like, I could never say to do something unless I'm willing to do it myself. Now, granted, yeah, okay, I'm not going to be the one who drives a bus or operates a train, but I want to be the one advocating for better pay for bus operators and metro operators. They're not paid nearly enough. And that would mean we need to get, I need to get more people to show popular support for increasing the metro budget, for prioritizing public transportation, for doing things that make our cities healthier, happier. I can't believe the air quality in LA is so horrible. We're breathing in all these metals and toxins in the air and particulates that are emitted from cars and from their tires. We're killing each other so much. 336 traffic deaths last year in LA. Traffic deaths were the number one killer of kids. That is so wildly unacceptable, but it's just this obscure thing to people, and they don't think up close how our built environments affect us. And also think about what you could do if you could pursue the things you love, your passions, without having to work so much and be in debt and get a second job, move farther away from work, have to maintain your car to keep your job because you need your car to get to work, have to keep your job to keep your car because you can't pay for your car without work. Why rents are so high? That's another whole other class of exploitation. Landlords, they should not exist. They don't create housing, they hoard housing. And that's just the like blanket de facto nature of landlords. Then you get into the landlords who are predatory beyond that, who jack up rents, who sexually exploit tenants, as I experienced with my first landlord, who are slumlords, as I experienced with my second landlord. Know your rights, avail yourself to this knowledge, and look into why we have this system in place. We could do so much better. We could turn it around in a day. We built this system and we can unbuild it and make it so employers fear abusing employees and discriminating against them. And so our leaders know they have, as a matter of self-preservation, to work for better built environments, for better safety nets, social safety nets, for housing for everybody, for public transportation, for healthy air, for clean water for everyone. How is it we still have lead in our pipes and unsafe drinking water in so much of the country? So I could go on. There will always be problems. Don't get me wrong. There will always be imbalances of power and exploitation. I just think it's up to us to decide, do we want to fundamentally shift how we direct our energies so that we don't, as a matter of just daily, as a matter of daily course, or just as a matter of our daily, the way we interact with each other, we're in a system that puts us in exploitative relationships. We can undo so much of that so that we don't have this culture that fosters that, but we have one that actually brings out our best instincts and shows what's possible with healthier food, healthy streets, healthy homes, quality healthcare for everybody. We absolutely can do that. So, guys, read, watch videos, study just a little bit. This Labor Day, watch a movie about labor, watch a documentary about it. There's so much out there. Watch what HR does when you report stuff to them. Talk to your coworkers. Save money. Go car free a day or two a week if you can. Go car free entirely, or go car light, you would say that is, or go car free entirely if you can. If you can't, and whether you do or don't, advocate for more public transportation and streets for everyone. Why? Because that's less traffic for you. That's fewer bad drivers for you if you don't have to deal with as much competition on the road. So I'm going to get to writing. It's about time. I didn't even drink my water, just opened it up. I finally got a water filter under my sink because I'm like, this building's old. That means there could very well be lead in the pipes. That's completely unacceptable. So I got a filter that claims it filters lead out of the water. All right, everybody. Have fun. Be well. Let me know what you think.